So, hello, folks. I have the honor here to interview and talk a bit about Oscilio with Mr. Zheng, who took Oscilio to calling Kuala Lumpur. I believe it was last weekend. Time moves fly very fast, and here's also his list. And yeah, welcome. I'm very honored to have you here.
Yeah, it's great to be here. And I'm really happy to be able to help my fellow Oscilio gamers to hopefully bring Oscilio to the top tables and, improve everyone's game plan and understanding of the deck.
Yeah, that's very lovely because you also told me that on message when I asked you if you want to do this, and you were like, "Yeah, I just want to help like fellow solo players." I thought that was like really sweet. Love the community.
Yeah, I feel like Flesh and Blood is one of the best communities. Everyone's here to help each other.
Yeah,
We're not usually trying to hide things from anybody. Everything's pretty much at face value, and I think that's great.
100%. So, how do you feel about this hero in general? I think that's interesting topic to ask you first. There's a lot of like
Yeah,
different perspectives on the thing. So, what is yours?
yeah. So, I mean, for my personal view, I view Oscilio as a aggro deck
Mm-hmm.
that will build into a small to a medium-sized combo that will take tempo towards the perhaps turn 4, 5, or 6, and then from there you actually will get enough tempo to just close out games from there. Because personally, based on my matches and my wins, that's how I felt the experiences with this hero.
Yeah, and how long have you played Oscilio? Where do you play Oscilio?
So, funny thing is, I've actually played Auxilio at the start of Rosetta
Oh,
for 2 weeks, and then I decided to, I'm going to give up on this deck because I'm a KO gamer. I think people would know me recently from my top 4 KO at the Calling Manila. And funny thing
oh,
enough, yeah, 3 weeks before the Calling KL, one of my friends, he sat beside me and I was opening Pokemon packs. And he said, okay, if this one pack you open a Pikachu SAR, you're gonna have to play Oscilio. And I was like, okay, what's the worst that can happen?
yeah, play
And lo and
Oscilio.
behold, I had to play Oscilio because of that one stupid pack. So
Oh,
I spent 3 weeks um I spent a week building the deck and then 2 weeks playing the deck straight. And before this whole bet everything, I've actually been following your YouTube videos as I've always I never really gave up on him. I just didn't want to play him that time. And then now, I was forced to play him, so I reloaded all your videos, watch what you were doing, what watch other people was doing, the play patterns. And then I also chanced upon Cole Pad Thai's list as well and try to understand what he was doing with his list and also the interview that he had. So it just really helped a lot. And then I was pretty satisfied. I had a deck that was on a 75% win rate
hmm.
with about 62 games.
Okay, yeah, that's good. That's good.
Yep.
So,
And then, yep.
do you think you got enough reps? You felt like prepared for the tournament, or do you wish there was a little more time? Maybe you opened that Pikachu like week or two earlier.
Yeah. Um, I think that I pretty much had more than enough time and practice already with
Hmm.
Oscilio because I pretty much knew what my game plan was and what I wanted to do. So I felt that I had enough time. The only thing that I wish that I could have more is better Lightning Wizard cards.
Okay, okay. Especially in what
Yeah,
slot? What would you want to see if they would now were to give us a expansion slot in Hunter?
I would say perhaps another sigil,
Okay.
a sigil that could um so currently we have one that gives go again, and then we have one that draws a card,
Yeah.
and one that amps. So I was thinking maybe a sigil that gives a resource. That sounds pretty good.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah, that sounds
Yeah.
good.
Or yeah, or I don't know, maybe LSS will be out of their mind and give us a zero cost Mel card that does one arcane and three arcane afterwards. So that sounds pretty fun.
Okay, yeah. Do you want it to be instant so it can be cyclable?
Oh yeah, definitely. Who doesn't want to have a three block
yeah,
instant that can be cycled,
yeah.
especially in this deck?
That sounds too much of a paradise. Zero cost, 3 block, melt instant, payout.
Yeah, that's too much. That's too much to ask for.
yeah, you need
But who
to
knows? I mean,
chill.
they gave Verdance. Yeah, they gave Verdance an expansion slot already. So who knows? Maybe Oscilio might be getting one.
Yeah, maybe. Who knows? But do you actually view uh, Oscilio sort of similar to KO in a sense? Like, obviously, you have the wizard side, and it's like a more polarized aggro and then combo. But I sort of myself, I'm starting to view Greaves a little bit Shash like.
Mm, yeah, so I actually would agree with you on that because for the way I build KO, he's primarily an aggro forward deck, and then towards the middle game, you you have the combo with the Sash and the Blood Rush Bellows, and I even play Castbones in my deck,
Mm-hmm.
so that is the setup potential. So to me, when I play Oscilio, I play it like a KO, so it feels very very familiar, and that's why in that 3 weeks of practice, I felt that I have more than enough reps with the deck.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, and yeah, you definitely knew how KO plays, so that's cool.
Yeah.
So how did your tournament go?
So my tournament, I went. I think as everybody knew, on actual score it would be X and 5, but in
Yeah.
reality it would be X and 4. The last game that I've lost was actually due to a sideboard error, and my opponent was nice enough to let me change out the cards, and then because of that I won, but I chose to concede because it is a mistake on my part,
Yeah.
and I should be able to take ownership of it. But I love the community. I love the guy for saying that, hey, you know what, if you could just discard that random card, draw one more card, and we can just see how the game goes. And I was like, you know what, I appreciate it. If I win from it, I'm going to concede the game, and lo
Yeah,
and
yeah,
behold, I won and I considered. So the first game of my calling was with a Dorinthia,
yeah. Okay. Don't blade.
uh, Dawnblade Dorinthia.
Yeah.
Absolutely demolished the Dawnblade Dorinthia. Our life was 28-0.
oh, yeah, you really
Yeah.
demolished.
Yeah. So what happened pretty much was that Oscilio just did Oscilio things. Um, I s- he brought in AB2.
Okay.
And I was like, okay, you're on AB2. It's not gonna matter too much because I'm usually gonna M3. So all my surges gonna hit. And then by turn 3, I had my Sigil Blast combo.
Oh,
And I just did the juggle. And during the second juggle, I drew into a second somersault, which allowed me to juggle again a bit more times with going in the flash as well. And I think I sent a Etchings of Arcana for 18 arcane damage, and he just died straight.
did you pop bindings there?
No, I did not pop
okay.
binding.
Okay.
It was a non-bindings damage. It's just pure juggles.
Yeah, yeah.
And then yeah, so honestly, Dorinthia that game I was pretty lucky because I mean he had lots of go again enablers, but warriors being the type that they have no actual disruption. So you're just free to do whatever you want to do.
Yeah. Dorian's just trying to
Yeah.
trying to raise you, abuse that you can't block very well. Her Dome Blade, and but she also gives you like 3 to 4, maybe 5 turns even if they draw badly. So yeah.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. And Oscilio being able to constantly cycle. So I did essentially like 6 turns of cycling because one on my turn, one on his turn. So I cycled like 6 cards deep and I just found a combo. And that's how fast you can actually get your combo.
Yeah. That
Yeah.
is
And
that
then
is also very good to realize your what is your win condition to the game, and then you just use your ability towards that. Because I think a lot of people underestimate how good and hard Oscillo's ability is to actually like use well.
oh yeah, it's like you get to ditch a card, draw a card on your turn and your opponent's turn. It's just insane value because you can dig through two cards within the first turn and then another two in the second turn. It's like
Yeah,
you just drawing your combo potential is so much more consistent with this deck. And not to mention, you also got to understand that you're also able to scout your hand for the perfect play depending on the situation.
yeah, and depending on what cards you have seen and all that. This
Yeah,
that is definitely a definition of card advantage for this game. This Oscillo's ability.
it is. It's definitely. So I'm going to just go through the second game. So the second game was with a Florian.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, that game was pretty much a walkover as well. Um, it was, I think the life was 22-0.
Okay, yeah.
So the Florian was on a Scepter build,
Ah,
but it was a very strange build because he had zero AB.
oh, okay. So he just
Yeah.
conceded.
So yeah, and his reasoning was that he wanted to block most of the physical damage from Oscilio. And I was like, okay, if you're presenting me with zero AB, all I'm gonna do is throw spells at you, and you're not able to decompose, you're not able to do your stuff. I think it took him all the way until turn 6 or turn 7 to get his first decompose activated.
Yeah,
Yeah, and he wasn't having too much fun, but I gotta do what I gotta do. And I think by turn 8, when he finally decomposed his four cards, I just comboed off and killed him.
yeah. That sounds like perfectly abused game into their game plan.
Oh yeah. And then the third game was with the Aurora on stream. So that's with Ivan Go, one of the best players in my local community in Singapore.
Mm-hmm.
The game was very, very close, of course. In that matchup, you will realize that I was a little bit more on the defensive side
Yeah,
because of the double channel lightning valley that he developed. But luckily, he only managed to save one. And then from there on, I actually had a combo in hand. However, there was no spell payoff.
yeah,
So I counted the damage. It was pretty much 28 to 32 physical damage that I could send. So I was just calculating based on tempo wise, am I able to close out the gap big enough with this? And I evaluated. I realized that you know what, let's just take it. If I have a spell at the end, that'll be perfect. But if it's not, then it's still a pretty decent amount of damage.
yeah. I do remember the
And
relieved face that your opponent made when you showed that you had no spell for the combo. I was like, oh, good.
yeah, Ivan was like so happy. He was like, "Oh my god, it's not a spell." I was like, "Yeah, you know what? It's not a spell, but I'm still gonna send 8 more damage your way." So he was like, I can respect that.
Yeah,
And I think at that towards the end, I had a couple of plays that um could have won me if I drew a spell because I still had one more Etchings of Arcana, one more Comet Storm Shock, and I had two Now Shocks left in my deck. And I had like 16 cards left in my deck. So, when I drew the cutoff of Channel Lightning Valley and I saw that E Strike, I was like, oh my god,
yeah.
this is the worst.
That
Like,
was the
why
worst.
did that one E Strike?
And you also, I think you threw after the combo twice a hand that you had instants and a funnel, and you can't really like use the funnel for anything besides like block three or pitch. So
Yeah, so the funnel was a little bit of fumble, but I would say the game was still pretty close. It was
yeah,
one life to two life, and
yeah,
despite me not having a spell payoff. And I would say, we honestly showed that the deck is really good.
yeah. I think so too. I think the game was
Yeah,
fantastic regardless.
yeah. And then after that loss, I went on to face Zen. Yes, so I went to face on Theodore, also part of my local community, a really great Zen player. Unfortunately, he brought AB 0 or AB 1, but I was back to back Mind Warps, Destructive Aether Tide, Etchings of Arcana, and when he tried to transcend, I now shock and
Yeah.
bam, the game was over. I think the game was like 11-0, and when he died, he actually did not transcend at all.
Oh yeah, yeah. That's perfect.
Yeah, and when you're Oscilio, you're presenting actually quite a lot of damage, and he was like, shit, why is there so much damage? Is that I'll be playing Fillering Charge and then a Lightning Press, and then because he has go again and I have a seizure on the board, I will send a Mind Warp at the end. So it's gonna be like 7-4, and then he has to send his hand back and draw one less. And he's like, oh my god,
Yeah.
you ruined the hand. And I was like, yes, that's the plan.
Yeah, that's like 3 card 14 there. And the hand
Yeah,
might get a
so
lot worse as well, so
yeah, and then my fifth game was against the CYB Nu. Obviously, that is not a fun game to be playing. That was against one of my friends, well, Gordon Cole. He was actually the top 8 CYB Nu, and he won the Calling Manila as well.
Oh yeah,
Um, yeah, so he resolved one CYB on my turn 0, two CYB on his turn 1, and then another two on my turn. So he resolved 5 CYBs in 2 turns, and I was like, I'm not gonna play this game because the amount of damage that Oscilio has, actually there is a limit to how much damage he can do.
yeah.
And especially if you're against a Nu that destroys your deck, you actually will never reach that limit cap, and it won't be enough to deal. So I think around by the time I got through 3 quarters of my deck, he was still at 30 life, and I just, I'm just gonna concede.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna kill you because all my spells are gone, all my attacks are gone. I don't have the combo, and I'm pretty much dead.
Yeah,
So that was my second loss.
it's really rough because like after new plays, it's not like the big life that so much matters there if he plays like first 2 turns 5 CYBs, but it's like now everything that he has in his hand is just only disruption left, so I'm not gonna get any breathing room ever again. So
Yeah, yeah. He was like back to back, weakest link, CNC, erase face. And I was like, oh my
yeah.
god, please stop. I need to do something, but you know what? That's the game.
Yep.
You have your bad matchups. It is what it is.
Yeah, card games.
And
It is.
then yeah, the sixth game is against the Zen. Wrote the Zen over as well. I think the life total was uh 16-0. Same thing, he didn't transcend at all. Every time he tried to transcend, null shock came up just nice.
Do you Arsenal
Um,
null shock there in that matchup or just draw it nicely?
yeah. So I actually drew it on turn 0, and I just kept it in my arsenal for
Okay.
about 2 turns. And when he transcended, bam, null shock
Yeah, yeah,
came
yeah.
and stopped him. My last game was against a Viserai. So he went first. He developed 2 Malefics and a Read the Runes. So he had like 4 rune
Oh,
charms and 2 auras. But in my hand was a Scour and 3 blues.
damn.
Mm. And everything just disappeared.
Yeah, that is a lot of value getting rid of those malefics, especially.
Yeah. And everything just disappeared from there. He was like, oh my god, you're so mean. I was like, I'm so sorry, but this deck. And because he wasn't able to develop any auras on his actual turn 0.
Hmm.
I was able to just outvalue him throughout the game, just play aggro, and then I found the combo midway through
Yep.
and just comboed him off. And he was like, damn, this deck is your Oscilio deck's pretty good. I was like, yeah, Oscilio is actually pretty fun, but he is very challenging to play.
Yeah, I agree.
So that concluded my day 1 went XM2. I
Nice.
was the only Oscilio to make it for day 2.
How many was there? I
Then
forgot.
there were 3 Oscilios,
Okay. Yeah.
including me.
Thank you. Thank you.
And then, yeah, day 2 came. My first match, I was like, all right, give me a easy one. And they paired me with Michael Fang.
Oh, not an easy one.
I was like, oh my god, this is not easy at all. So on
What
my turn
was
0,
was Fang playing Enigma again? I forgot.
yes, he was playing Enigma.
Yeah.
Yeah, so on my turn 0, I actually leaked 9 damage against
Oh.
him because he had Transcend, Secret Art, and 2 Restless Coalescence. So I dealt 9 physical first, and then when he Transcended and Secret Art and made 3 Spectral Shields, I actually had a Null Shock in my hand. So I Null Shock and I took 2 shields away, leaving him with 1 shield only, which actually cost him a lot of tempo.
Yep. Nice.
But throughout the rest of the game, he drew Phantasmal Chasms and big damage attacks that disrupted me quite a bit. And when he Phantasmal Chasm, he always managed to sink my God in the Flash.
Oh.
So yeah, whenever I tried to juggle the God in the Flash for that value, he managed to sink it, and I was like, oh my god, I'm so sad. I don't
Yeah,
want to play this game anymore. Yeah, but I managed to I realized that when he developed a Rage Spectre,
yeah.
all I did was to just block and pass turn because I realized that he played almost all of his go again cards and he pitched away his Maragais and Restless Coalescence already, which meant that he could only do 6, and then I was able to just block 6, develop board, block 6, and develop board. But on the turn that I wanted to combo off, he managed to find a go again source, which caused me to drop an extra card. And because of that, on the combo turn that went off, he was at, I believe, 26 life. I brought him down to 20 life. I mean, I brought him down to 6 life,
Yeah.
with him blocking up most of it as well. But if I had that extra 2 cards in my hand, I would be able to send probably another 12 to 16 damage because it was 2 more Sigils of Solace that I had.
Oh.
And it was the Gone in a Flash combo with Blast to Oblivion and a spell payoff at the end.
Okay, I see.
Yeah, and best part was that he actually managed to pass over my only sigil in the graveyard when I ended my combos with etchings.
So
So
that
I
missed
wasn't
damage
able
as well.
to, yeah, so that's 4 more damage that was missed as well because he passed over the only sigil that I had developed.
That is
Yeah,
unfortunate, but very beautiful
it is.
analysis.
Yeah, and then after that game, I faced I faced a Viserai. Um, I believe I was pretty lucky. He was on the setup Viserai, so I presented a lot of aggression, and he wasn't able to see his aggressive setup cards, and I think I pretty much took the game by turn 5, turn 6 when I comboed off. And on the turn that he wanted to face Purgatory, he had all attack action cards.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
lucky.
so I got there through that. And then after after the Viserai, I faced another Zen. It was another walkover. I I drew the null shot at the perfect moment. You know, he E strike, he said E strike, draw a card. So I blocked with 2 cards, and so before that he actually played Biting Breeze blue, and then he chose E strike, draw a card. So I already knew that he had Pathwell Travel in hand.
Yeah, yeah.
So I was like, okay. So he strike draw a card. I was like, I blocked with 2 cards, 2 attack action cards. And then he's like, Pathwell Travel. I was like, okay, response. I'm gonna somersault my 2 cards back. And then he's like, okay. And then I'm going now shock. And then he's like, oh shit. I was like, yes. So that ends your turn. I block your damage and I get my 2 cards back. And
That
I
is
deal 3 damage to you.
yeah.
Yeah, and then same thing. He died without transcending. So that was the game. And my second last game was against a Vincent. So this Vincent, he did really well. He was actually 11th position in the calling KL.
Okay.
Yep. I pretty much died. I pretty much lost tempo very quickly. He went first, and I think on his actual first turn, he sent 25 damage towards me. He had widespread annihilation, and then he cracked his gloves. Played Shadow Puppetry, came in with 4 arcane, 7 physical.
Mm-hmm.
Played Revel in Room Blood, sent another 4 physical and 4 arcane and 6 physical. And then, oh sorry, the Revel in Room Blood was with a creepers as well. So and then he sent a flail at me. So on turn one, he sent on his actual turn one, he sent I think 23 or 24 damage my
Yeah,
way
big.
with 2 disruption.
Yeah,
And
big
I was like,
turn.
you know what, I don't think I'm not gonna win this game.
Yeah.
Especially since he still had AB2 on the chest and AB1 on the book. So I was like, yeah, I'm probably not winning this anymore.
Yeah, that's a rough one.
Yeah.
It's very rarely lines up, but they managed to line up that double disruption, big turn.
Yeah, and the worst part is that I actually had a turn where I could combo. And when I said no blocks, he played Succumb to Temptation. I was like, oh my god, I'm so sad. I don't want to play this game anymore. And when he saw 2 somersaults and a blast and a sigil of brilliance, and there was only one card he took. He just took away the blast, and I was like, all right, I'm not gonna win this.
Yeah, that was a good
Yeah,
pickup as well. I think most players just see brilliance and they're like, oh, they want that one.
yeah. And then my last match was against a CYB Nu again. So this was the match that I sideboarded in wrongly. I actually had 2 Scours that I left in my deck.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I pretty much decided that, you know what, if the CYB Nu is gonna send me disruption, I'm just gonna play the best 4 card hand I can every turn, and hopefully bring him down low enough. And that was what happened. I presented great 4 card hands, and every time he had a disruption, it was just only taking 1 card from my arsenal or 1 card from my hand, which meant that I was always able to present about 12 to 14 damage,
Mm-hmm.
and that caused him to reach like a very low life total. And I did a mini combo. So on the mini combo turn, I actually drew the Scour that I had left in my deck, and he's like, you know what? Let's just discard it and see what you draw. So I drew into the second card was the Etchings of Kana, and that was lethal. So I managed to get there, but of course, I decided that the game was not, it wasn't meant to be. So I lost that game.
Yeah, yeah. There was actually interesting, how would I say, a discussion about this on Nordic Pro server. When I told them this story, the judges over there were like, "Oh, you're not supposed to like because it is a pro rel event, right? Calling, so
Yeah,
you're not supposed to like yourself solve the game. So if the judges are looking over when your opponent tells you that, hey, okay, you can discard and draw a new card, it's like not a good thing to do. But I mean, like the intent there was like both players, good sportsmanship, and just hey, let's see where this goes. But yeah,
yeah, and you know what? I think it's great because I think I was actually about to lose regardless. And if I didn't kill him on that turn, the game would have ended
yeah,
pretty much on his favor. So I think that was pretty much the last game of the whole event, and we were just fighting for fun, playing around because he was also very interested in seeing how the deck functioned. I was like, you know what, let's go for it.
yeah. I agree 100%.
And yeah, so that was my calling journey. Went X and 5 with it. Not the best showing, but I felt that a lot of things that if you avoided the mistakes would have actually gotten him to X and 4 or even X and 3.
Yeah, I can see that, and like I mean, day two for these 2-day events is obviously always like good. You have to it's a high level competition, and you have to play better than average, and like
Oh yeah.
win more than lose. So it's always a good showing there, even if you don't top 8 per se. But yeah,
Yeah, 100%. And they like callings are quite a stressful event. But I think of all my 12 games that I've played, almost everybody enjoyed playing against and me playing as Oscilio because they were like, this is so interesting. Like this deck is like it seems like it's such a fun to play. You're always thinking about what's left in your deck, what you're gonna do with your current hand, what's coming up. And I think in my 12 games, I have like eight of my opponents approached me and asked for the deck list. And
oh
I give it to them and like they say they want to jam with it because it's such a fun game, such a
yeah,
fun deck.
yeah, and it's like I think it's interesting to play against you. You as your opponent also like need to guess and play around like different parts. If it's like arcane, if it's like physics, or like what is the setup, what is left in their deck, and they also do get to play that game that you have to think all the time about yourself too.
Oh yeah, yeah, 100%. I think it's like this deck is really fun. It actually encourages interaction between you and your opponents quite often
Yeah,
in observing the board state and what's left in your graveyard or what's left in your deck. And I think I will continue playing Oscilio unless the hunter gives me new toys.
is is there a
But
deck you're looking at that you want to play?
yeah, so currently I do have Jarl, the trading deck as well.
Okay,
And I am actually planning to build Fang, but if they give me a Oscilio expansion slot card, then I'm so sorry. I'm just gonna stick to Oscilio and be an Oscilio gamer.
nah, we would love that. We would love that. But please stay. But
Yeah, yeah,
of course, you can play multiple decks for sure. But
yeah,
okay, so maybe next we go over your card choices. How do you feel about that development of this thing? Maybe I
yeah,
could,
yeah, for sure, for sure.
maybe I stream you. Can you see my screen? And we can go over
Yeah,
these
yeah,
cards.
yeah. Okay, I see your cards. Yep, I see your screen as well. So I think everyone's biggest question would be why spell tidings instead of
Oh
a
yeah,
what was the other card again?
Spindle.
Aether Spindle. Well, the reason is pretty simple. I like both of them, so I flipped the coin and spell tidings won.
That is best. That is so best.
Yeah. I'm pretty much a gambling man. That's why I chose to play Oscilio as well.
Ah,
So I evaluate, of course, Spindle as a setup card because against that with AB1 or AB2, you're always going to see 3 to 4 cards deep,
yeah,
allowing you to better scout a hand that you can draw up into. And even with the Oscillio drawing this card.
yeah,
Spell Tidings on the other end, when you are against a deck with AB1 or AB0, it always means that it's on a 2 card 7 to 9 value because of the ponder token. Means that you can just play like a 4 card hand, have a ponder token, and you're just gonna arsenal whatever you draw. Because most of the time you're gonna play it at instant speed, or you can have it as it is. So that's my evaluation for both cards. And I love both of it,
yeah,
but I decided to just flip a coin and Shell Tidings won. So
yeah.
who knows? Maybe if I for the next event, if I flip a coin and Spindle wins, I'll play Spindle.
I see. Is there any other cards you would flip a coin with that you play or not?
So I think honestly, this list is pretty much as solid as it is as I want it to be.
Okay, love to hear
I
that.
notice people have questioned the lightning press
Yeah, that
quite a
is the
bit.
thing too. Yeah,
Yeah. So lightning press to me is a 0 for 4 that doesn't require an action point. And the main reason is that I'm going to be playing sigil of conductivity or any sigils um, against most of my opponents. And if they have no arcane, it always means that whatever lightning card I play will have a +1 added value due to the Volza.
Yeah.
And when you play, obviously the biggest um, thing with this is that you can play it with Entwine Lightning and a Flickering Charge. So you can always Entwine Lightning fuse with Lightning Press, and you can hang that one card over their head. And they're like, all right, is he gonna send it now? Is he gonna send it later? When will it come? You can even have fun with them and just discard the Lightning Press and draw a random card, and they'll be like, what am I doing? Why did I just take 4 for no reason?
Yeah, yeah. And there's also like um the fact that you have it in your deck, they need to play around it, but with the Channel Lightning Valley
Yes.
and all that stuff. So
Yeah, and with Flickering Charge as well, because you have Electrostatic Discharge, you can't discharge and then Flickering Charge because you don't have Go Again, but you can Flickering Charge, press it, and then have a Go Again.
yeah,
And what this enables you to do is you're gonna Flickering Charge, press, and you can send a 0 cost spell if you have a that is amped twice if you have any of the sigils on the field.
yeah.
So
Um,
that was the main reason why I love Lightning Press, or
how
I chose to have Lightning Press.
so how about the weakness of the Lightning Press? I agree it is definitely better than Discharge with everything else besides Gun and Flash, but there is a big weakness with Gun and Flash. How do you feel about that one?
Yeah, so of course the big weakness with Going in the Flash is that you get denied the bounce and it doesn't synergize with it very well. So I would say being the gambler that I am, I'm just gonna discard it and see hope I draw another instant because the deck is pretty much running quite a fair bit of instance, you can easily discard the Lightning Press and draw another
Yeah,
card that can gain value. Because in this scenario, Lightning Press it's 0 for 4, yes, with the bounce value, but if you can get a sigil, a blink, a discharge, it will easily net back the value that you just lost. So I would say you can just discard it, you know.
yeah.
Sometimes I wouldn't even I will actually deny the Going in the Flash trigger just to push damage with as a chain ender if I have another card in hand that I can't play out.
No, I think that is completely fine. Like me included, I think a lot of people are just too married to Gun and Flash in Arsenal. It's like fine to let it
Yeah,
go, and you know your odds are sometimes like depending of course of the games that they are good that you're if you're playing like 3 turns the same guy in Flash, you're probably gonna throw another very soon. So just let it go and just play without Arsenal for a bit. It's totally fine.
yeah. And you know, you're digging through your deck so much, playing through so many cards at in one turn. You're gonna see your second Going in a Flash. You're gonna see your third Going in a Flash. So it's actually perfectly fine to let it go. Um, if you evaluate that, you know what, I think I'm going to see the next one soon. I can let this one go, and I'm just going to push damage,
Yeah,
and that's that. You know, that's it.
and these are the like the very micro things that makes this hero so hard. He just gives you so many of these options that do you take this value here, or maybe you don't take the damage value and you just take gun and flash back to arsenal it, then it's basically like the in the value sense same numbers, but like they achieve different things, and you just want to like see that what things you want to achieve that game in that game state. It's very cool.
Yeah, yeah. You know, and that's the hardest part about Oscilio is that he makes you evaluate, and if you can't evaluate like well enough, obviously there will be misplays and there will be inefficiency in the game plan. But with reps and repetition, I think anyone can get there. You know, he is a
Yeah,
deck that requires practice. And as you can tell that with Mark Morrison, with you, with me, and lots of other players out there, we have actually been be able to show results that, you know, with enough time and practice, he can do a lot. He can be consistent in his game plan.
yeah, 100%. There's been good results already in callings and like big tournaments, as well as testing and playing with pro teams and such. There's been pro players. There's been very good results. So the deck is definitely real. There's no question about it.
Yeah.
Um. So where do you actually play press? That's what I'm curious about. What matchups?
Okay. So Lightning Press is pretty much in my aggro package. So if you see the main board is 48 cards,
Yeah.
and then you scroll back down, I actually have I think 27 cards in the sideboard.
Yeah.
So it would be Electric Magnetism, E-Strike, Lightning Press, Sigil of Solace, and Swell Tidings in the main aggro package.
Okay.
So this is I run 63 cards, and I think a lot of people did question it before, and my answer to them is that on turn 0, I'm going to discard one card and draw a card, which means I'm at 62. On your turn, I'm going to discard one card and draw a card, which means I'm going to be on 61. So I'm likely going to still be on a 60 card deck by the actual turn 1. So it's just more about trying to squeeze every good thing in the deck as much as possible.
Yeah, I see it.
And then
Let me play devil's advocate here a bit. Now that what if you played 57 card deck due to Oscilio's ability, just the 57 best cards.
yeah. So that's the best part is like a lot of people for me is 57 means that it's like is the density is much higher now. You're gonna get your good cards much faster.
Yeah.
And I sometimes agree with that. So in a game where I feel that I can't get enough time to set up, I actually remove the E strikes. So that's 60 cards.
That
So
is
you're gonna
what
play 60 card team.
that's what I was just thinking, that I would remove the ear strikes to get the
Yeah.
60.
Because yeah, the E strike, honestly, in a aggro matchup, it's gonna kill you so much because it's a 2 card for 7. It's not the best value, it's not the best rate, and it actually cost me the game
Yeah.
in against Aurora. And I was like, you know what? I think I should sideboard more aggressively against Aurora rather than defensively. So against Aurora, I actually played 65 cards because I was a bit more on the defensive side. I added in 2 more now shocks.
Yeah. That
And
makes sense.
yeah, because in my testing, I felt that Aurora, they were playing more of like 0 for 4s and not too much of the Flicker Whisk combo. So I was able to slowly get value and then combo them off mid game to bring them low enough.
Yeah.
So obviously that was a mistake. And then I think going into the future, my um, choice would be Magnetism, Lightning Press, Sigil of Solace, and the Swell Tidings with the Null Shocks, and that's it. You just play 62 card clean. You could probably remove one Conductivity and one Sigil of Lightning if you want to make a 60 card clean deck.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that would be great. Um, Other than that, I don't think I would change much. I mean, some people they did argue that you could remove the destructive Aether type because the Aurora's gonna have AB2 or AB3 with sometimes even Spell Void 2.
Yeah.
So the destructive Aether type is not gonna deal that much damage, and the disruption doesn't really come up that often. So in the Aurora matchup, you're probably gonna look for max damage. So some people would remove the Aether type, put in remove 2 Aether and then just slide the 2 Null Shocks in there.
Yeah. That also makes sense. There's also like another argument for that, actually, just playing Aethertide, because there's like a thing with these arcane spells where their power does not always come from their damage or their surge effects, which are obviously like the things that we are looking for. But there's also the other side of just like asking cards out of your opponent's hands. If you can make the aura play 4 card, 3 card hands instead of 5 card plus hands, it's just because they're aggro deck and they have like additive damage because they want to draw more cards during their turns and have like arc lightnings and flicker wisps perhaps. It's like you're devaluating their hand a lot if you just send destructive Aethertide for 3 and they're AB that, they lose their blue out of their hand, and now their hand is a lot less functional. So there's also that side of the coin, I think.
Yeah, of course. And I think you could see that happen quite often in my match against Ivan, especially with my Mind Warp and Destructive Ether type play. Both of those turns, I took 2 blues out, which actually reduced his damage output by quite a bit.
Yeah.
And I think you're right there. And you know what? I think there's still a lot of testing to be done in terms of decision points. But I would say to everybody has their opinion, and I would say just choose whatever option that you like the most.
Yeah, yeah, 100%. And also like this, um, because a lot of people play Oscilio in a lot more combo way, right? And then that's, I think, where their argument comes from, where you want to have many little or 60 cards always instead of 63, when you would rather like value your threat density and like value plays until you find your combo, and you're not that worried of like digging like a percent faster to that combo. So I think that is interesting as well.
Yeah, when I played Oscilio, I was actually previously very hard onto the combo potential. But I realized that if you don't have the combo potential, you can't really function well enough. So we have to have the mindset whereby we can have turn-to-turn plays that presents pressure, allowing you to build tempo and hopefully enough time to get your combo. Because if you are so slow as solely relying on just playing into the combo, Oscillio's gonna get blown up by disruption. He's gonna get
Yeah,
blown up by aggression. And if your deck can't function turn by turn, I don't think it's a deck, to be honest.
yeah, yeah. I 100% agree with you there. And I think like so I love the way you say that outvaluing your Visualize and Aura opponents and Zen opponents. I think that is like sort of illegal for a deck like Oscilio to be able to do, because if you can do that, and then you have also like this nuclear button of your Lightning Greaves at your disposal. Whenever you're given like one turn to breathe and you hit the hand, you're like, okay, 40. It's like it's like that is such an
Yeah,
overkill. It is insane.
it is. Yeah. And I think against my opponents is when I press the greaves, they're like, I think I'm dead. And I'll just go to them, I was like, I think so too,
Yeah.
I'm just gonna send like 20 physical, and then you're gonna send 18, 16 arcane in the end, and they're like, dude, I'm at 1. And I was like, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And even if they were at like 10 after that, it's like figurative to death, because it's gonna be like slow blade. Now you have no cards in hand. I have another 5 to 6 to 7 cards, and yeah, good luck.
Yeah, and they'll be like, oh shit, they use everything to block, they pop all their armor, they have no cards in hand, you're gonna have a 5-card grip, 6-card grip, and you're just gonna win from them because you have that much tempo.
Yeah. Oh, a sidetrack question actually. That just
Yes.
popped to my mind. Because I was watching your game, the feature match game, and I noticed the way you
Yeah.
handle your cards. Have you been doing like card magic, card forcing tricks before?
Oh, okay. So a lot of people has asked me on that question as well.
Oh.
So what happened was that I actually had a cut on my finger.
Ah.
So I was holding it that way just to prevent the cuts from getting into my cut.
Oh, okay, okay, I see.
I am not a magician or anything. I was just avoiding my cut from opening up and perhaps staining my cards so that nobody could judge call me for marked cards. But
Y-
yeah, I saw your commentary as well, and I was like, I think he's gonna ask this question as well. So let's just tell him what happened.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That is funny. That's not something I expected for sure.
Yeah,
But okay, then shall we continue on these cards then? So
yeah, for sure.
we talked about the sideboard choices. There's also Score and Snag, and Crown of Providence, I guess. That is. a topic.
Yeah. So snack is obviously against Nu.
Mm-hmm.
It is also, let's say if you happen to have it in your combo turn, it does not disrupt your combo. You can actually still play it as an instant
Yeah.
on your blast. So that's great. For Scour, you're only pretty much gonna bring it against Viserai and Vincent,
Which
because for Vincent, you're just gonna stop their rune gate,
yeah.
and for Viserai is you're gonna stop their malefic incantations.
Yeah.
Against Enigma, you pretty much don't really need it because you are actually presenting enough pressure every turn in terms of physical and arcane split to take away most of their spectral shields.
Yeah, I agree. And they also don't prioritize developing their board. They rather just throw cards at you, so that you just might break in the scour actually.
Yeah, oh yeah, and like watching Michael Fang's explanation on his deck list and seeing people following his list shows that they're less on developing auras, they're more of just dropping auras, beating you with the auras and an attack, and then letting the aura go at the end.
Yeah, sort of like Prism gameplay where you just extra life.
Yeah, that was it. And the Crown of Providence. Honestly, I feel that this card it's not as great as I've imagined. I actually only sideboard. I only used it once, and it was against the CYB Nu. It didn't really do a lot. All it did was saved me from perhaps one CNC, and then
Mm.
after that it was just back to back. Leave no witnesses, CNC. Leave no witnesses, CNC.
Yeah.
And yeah, I would say it helps with that saving that one card, but I think I might still prefer a Flash of Brilliance, mainly due to the fact that I would like to high roll a CYB Nu than play passively with them or play tempo with them. Because if you're playing into a mid-range gameplay with Nu, you're gonna lose out.
Yeah.
And if you happen to draw a combo and they do not have a disruption on that turn, you're just gonna pop off and just destroy them.
Yeah, I agree. And I've been also testing Crown of Providence, and I have actually just I would say word to word the same things that you would say. So
Yeah, and I realized that especially with assassins, the more you play into their game plan, the more you lose.
yeah,
Yeah, and
spider's web.
yeah, and you know what? If we remove that crown of Providence, I can put in three now shocks.
Oh
So that's even more value
yeah,
for
100%. Because
more potential.
all I heard from your explanation how your tournament went is like I rolled the guy, null shock, and I like yeah. I lost the game. I didn't throw a null shock. I like yeah.
Yeah, and I think pretty much most of the games that I rolled with, the combo just it always happens that I'm presenting a lot of damage in the first 2 to 3 turns, and then the combo just comes naturally because I played that many cards and I discarded and drew that many cards, and it just
Yeah.
came naturally.
Yeah, it's definitely the deck would be so powerful if you could cycle 60 cards in your deck. Unfortunately, it's
Oh
not
yeah.
possible, but like that's what we're, or at least I am kind of trying to achieve. Like these multi-purpose instants are just so good, I think, but you also have to like consider that you want to have 3 blocks as well. So yeah,
Yeah, no, definitely. And with that many instants, it's a balancing act. Sometimes you just draw 4 instants in a row,
yeah,
and you can just get exploded. You just die because you can't do anything. And sometimes you just draw 4 non-functional cards, and you just all right. Guess I lose. And I think everybody has to come to acceptance of these situations
yeah.
because it's still a card game. There is variance, so the sooner we get to the acceptance stage, the more fun you will have playing this deck.
Oh yeah.
Because yeah.
Um, about main deck then next, I guess. I don't know if you have seen, but a lot of Oscilio players, me included, have lately been playing Six Blast Oblivions. What is your feeling about this card? And possibly 6 blasts?
Oh yeah, yeah. So I would say 6 plus is definitely in consideration. It's actually in my maybe list now. So
Okay.
I have three more yellow blasts right there. Yeah.
Yep.
So these three yellow blasts, I'm trying to figure out where do I want it. Um, it can replace a one of the spell slots or even one of the some of the instant slots. And obviously, having more blast means that you can juggle a little bit more consistently.
Yeah.
You can also have better turn-to-turn value if you have a sigil developed. You know, if you have a conductivity and a embodiment of lightning, you could play blast, play press. You can bounce the conductivity, have another embodiment. You can play another blast. You can play instant bounce like the another aura again. You can do all that kind of shenanigans. And what that does is that each time you bounce a lightning instant or you play an instant to bounce an instant, you get M1, you M1, and it actually accumulates quite a lot of value towards the end.
Yeah, and like,
So
go ahead, go ahead.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And yeah, and I'm starting to see that line as well because it's actually very interesting.
Yeah, because my reasoning for playing 6 blast is that you actually, like, at first it was for fatigue sort of matchups, but there's an issue that we don't need actually like sideboard cards for that matchup. But it was also for like have more high rolls because now you have like 9 cards you can grease combo it, right, and have like higher ceiling on your combos randomly. So, but then I started to play again 6 blast in like every matchup, and now I just play it in the mind board because it also increases your deck's like threat density a lot more because you juggle your cards, you use what your rolls are better, you get like a lot of value out of your conductivities, more shock values because they doesn't don't use any AP, and your turns just start to like do a lot of damage from just like 3 cards, 4 cards, and they also start to do like setups where you get embodiment a turn. And I don't think if you get like embodiment a turn on Oscilio, it's pretty hard to lose.
Yeah, yeah. You know, I actually agree with that because after the calling event, I started thinking that you know if I had more blasts in the deck, there will be more combo potential and there will be actually better turn to turn plays. You know, like you said, you could play the blast, play instant, you can bounce the sigil, replay that sigil, and you will have M4 already.
Yeah.
And that would be and like a three card with an M4, and you throw a spell that the search effect is pretty much guaranteed. That would be backbreaking in almost every scenario.
Yeah, and there's also like when you slam conductivity, and maybe next turn you swing with blast and you bounce the conductivity, you also have now option to dig deeper in your deck because you can just cycle the card because it was already in your board. So you're sort of like
Yeah,
also drawing more cards. And like it creates a lot of these spaces where you can take these routes, where you can play for more damage, for more setup. You can dig deeper to your deck and just have like consistent turn by turn plays. And it's like you have these pockets where you play gun slash arsenal and you like block some cards, play gun, instant arsenal gun, or then you have like blast side where you play blast, just abuse the volter a bit, blink shenanigans, shoot a spell, and yeah. And they also work like fantastically well together. Even they're like multiplicative together, so it's really cool, I think.
yeah, no, I think it's like it is really, really cool. Like being able to have that line as well. And you know, I wish we could squeeze so many cards in this deck,
Yeah,
but obviously we always gotta care about the balance.
yeah.
And who knows, maybe there is a consideration to remove the current funnel as well for the 3 plus the Oblivions. Because it is a 3 block blue card, the
Mm-hmm.
current funnel. But what is it actually doing for us in this deck? You know, is it accelerating our game plan? Is it helping us block better in a sense?
I think it's
Or
I think it's like Lightning Base 3 that also helps block better, but sometimes, well, it's true that it is only like offensive with 2 damage, because if you think that you are doing like turn where a lot of people say like, oh, play Fry. It's much better with current funnel. But if you do like Fry, current funnel, maybe Blast or Oblivion, well, now you've only attacked and like spell. That is like basically just slightly above rate. So then that
Yeah,
would not like give a good argument for current funnel to facilitate those turns of no blocking into this maybe slightly above rate turn. But there's also like play patterns with if you play like how should I explain this? So you prioritize creating embodiments a lot. Like every time you can,
uh-huh.
you try to create embodiment and you play gun and flash in your arsenal. Like a lot of times you're not allowed to do that, right? But if you're allowed to do that, now every time you draw current funnel, you have blink or embodiment and gun and flash in arsenal. That turn is like is actually like 20 to 24, depending if there's a spell or like yeah, you know the variance there. But then it becomes like above rate turn. But I can't see a world where people would remove current funnel and it would not be like too surprising to me. Yeah.
Yeah, and I would say, we are pretty much still in the baby stages of building Oscilio
Yeah.
because we are still trying to figure out what's the best value there is. And there's so many play patterns and potential with each card. Like you said with current funnel, you can
Yeah.
even give like you could go in a flash, bounce, current funnel, Etchings of Arcana, get a sigil back, go in a flash, bounce, go in a flash.
Yeah, that was actually a line I took against Enigma in Ara event. A very good Enigma in our nation. And he was like, "Oh, I didn't know you can do that." I was like, "Yeah, this line is pretty cool."
Yeah, and that's why I was like thinking there's so many good cards that you want to play, but you don't really have that much spots because the
Yeah.
deck is so tight now.
It is. There is a lot of good options. And I think personally, I try to create the floor because you always have greaves, right? As long as you're playing gun and instants, you always have greaves. So if you just do a good floor, I think the deck becomes like consistent and maybe better.
Oh yeah, like once we figure out the floor, then we can just slowly build upon it, and then we can go higher and higher from there.
Yeah. One question: Entwine or Fry? What do you feel?
I feel personally entwined
What?
because I hate a card that doesn't block.
Yeah. Well said, sir. Same. I can't.
I cannot, yeah, I cannot live with myself if I see three fries in my deck. It's it's not the best feeling when you draw two fries and you see a CNC coming your way and you're like, oh my god,
Yeah.
I wish this I wish these two cards can block now.
Yeah, and I can't tell you the times I've lost with Fry not being able to block that too. Because a lot of the times the two block, even if it's like underrated, you're denying opponents on hits and you upgrade the two block in the three block with your armor. So
Yeah.
it is
Plus Entwine has synergy with somersaults. You get Entwine, somersault, Entwine, reveal another lightning, send lots of stupid damage out of the way.
yeah, I agree. I agree. Is there any card you want to discuss more about? Maybe choices that would you
Uh,
add or just what you have played with? You think there's like cool play pattern that maybe we have not seen or something like that?
Honestly, I don't think I would change anything or add anything yet. Because the fact that I'm still trying to figure out what I really want with the deck.
Yeah.
Um, in terms of consistency wise, um, like I said before, I'm just waiting for an expansion slot to arrive
Yeah.
because I feel like Oscilio they gave us like a deck that's almost there, but it's just missing a couple of cards to make it great.
Yeah, I think also like there is slot or two missing of feeling like the deck is perfect, but I think it's like good enough already. Like these entwines and knee strikes are sort of like Yeah,
like filler
good
card.
filler cards. Yeah.
Yeah, and obviously, Antoine Lightning and E Strikes are the cards that I will prioritize moving out if new cards come in.
Mm-hmm.
And but other than that, I would say for anybody that's watching this video or wanting to play Oscilio, the best thing you can do for yourself is to just practice the current deck that you have and understand the goal of what you want to do. If you want to do combo shenanigans, then you should build a Oscilio deck that is focused on that. You can play um, Whispers of the Oracle Red. You could play Fate for Scenes. You could play Spindles to dig further.
Mm-hmm.
If you are playing for aggression into a combo style, you
Seduce
can
Secrets too.
use, yeah, you can play Seduce Secrets as well. Seduce Secrets, I feel personally, I don't understand it, but I can see the value from it.
Yeah.
Um, it is a great card. You could have someone send a CNC and you play Seduce Secrets and you're like, all right, I'm gonna draw back my card and you're gonna do nothing, you're just gonna send me 6 damage. So I see the line with that as well. And I would say honestly, if there is no right or wrong in building a deck,
Yeah.
you should just build it the way that you enjoy it. And if it works for you, it works for you.
Yeah, and I think especially Oscilio is very nuanced. There is a lot more than math going with the deck, even though there is a lot of math. But
Oh yeah, he's one of the weirdest heroes I've ever played.
yeah,
Like he's all about counting what you have left, and then it's all about it's just a fun deck.
100%. Anything else you want to say?
Mm, I would say it's actually been a great 3 weeks playing this deck, and the community has been really great as well. I'm very thankful for the Oscilio community.
Yeah, I think it's
I
great.
saw all your messages during the on Discord during my event, and I was very happy to see that I was able to help inspire and create discussions with this deck.
Yeah,
I hope that I could do more for this community in the future, not just for this hero, but for future heroes. And I think Flesh and Blood has the potential to grow for many, many years.
yeah, I agree. This game is very fantastic, and the community is definitely a lot of card games. I think the community is pushing the game back, but Flesh and Blood is
Yeah.
quite the opposite. There, I think the community deserves, and the LSS deserves everything that they have already cultivated and what is to come.
Oh yeah. Like everybody is so hyped now, especially from where I am. I'm from Singapore. And yeah, everyone's really, really great. And you know what? I'm just gonna shout out a couple of stores while I'm here.
Hell yeah!
Um, so I'm from Singapore. If anybody's watching this and you're coming to Singapore, do check out these stores that I play at very commonly, and I believe they're a great community. The first being is Gamosaurus Rex in Upper Thomson. The second would be the Imaginarium in Clarke Quay. And the last would be Games Haven Chinatown. So these three stalls, I feel personally, have one of the best communities um, for Flesh and Blood, and also not to mention Juke's Kingdom, a special mention, Juke's Kingdom, JUEXKINGDOM, Juke's Kingdom. So these four stalls to me have fostered a very great community, and they've actually propelled the competitive scene in Singapore for quite a while already. So if anybody's watching and you're in Singapore, do check out these four stores. I think it'll be a great experience for you guys.
That is fantastic words. Love to say that. Yeah, go check out these stores and play the game. Have fun. Most importantly, have
Yep.
fun. But thank you, thank you. It was a really, really great pleasure and fantastic talk.
No, no, it's great. Like I'm so happy. Like when I received that message from you, I was like, oh my God, it's Yuuto. He's asking me for an interview.
No, 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 no. I'm just just a random person who can't right now go to events. I just press play and press record, do videos. But
No,
it's
no.
like,
Honestly, it was like so fun. I was like telling everybody from my group, like, hey, hey, they're gonna interview me for this video for Oscilio. They're like, oh my
oh,
God, let's do it.
oh, love to hear that. But yeah, it is my honor that I can talk with all the great players and interview them with Oscilio. You're killing it there, and
Yeah,
I'm always so excited when Oscilio is like on feature matches and people keep tagging me. It's like so cool. I love to watch.
yeah, hopefully I could go and feature Oscilio more and in the future.
Yeah, I have trust 100%. You're a great player, so there's no reason not to. But yeah, thank you for my part. Very honored.